Crimson versus Probe. Probe has been an annihilator of Zerg players yesterday and today. Of course, taking down Igaz in the finals yesterday and taking him down 2-0 just before this series off stream in the lower bracket. Crimson's got his work cut out for him, man.
Yeah, he certainly does. Probe on a tear right now, and yeah, it's sad we didn't get to see the Igaz first Probe rematch because that would have been a lot of fun, man. But we get the next best thing, which is Crimson.
And of course, I'm sure there's a live update on Igaz's Twitter feed with his thoughts on the match as well. So
we'll
make sure you guys go.
Exactly what went on in that match from the Twitter feed.
Exactly. All right, guys. We are going to go into this series. This guy up here in the top left, he's a Kiwi. Managed to take a game off Probe yesterday. Let's see if he can turn that into 2 games and even a series. In the red, representing Sif Gaming, it is Crimson.
Down here in the bottom right, we do have Oceanic's best Protoss player from Legacy. It is Probe.
Probius, the year of Probe, has been continuing for a few years now. Does feel like he's very, very good at the game these days. He's going to be going for a Gate Scout, chrono boosting out those probes and going straight for a gas behind it. So very standard opening, not looking to block the hatchery or anything like that. But Crimson also played very kind of safe here as well, I believe, in that he went for a 16 hatch. So he was preempting any potential pylon block, just making sure he'd get that down super fast.
Yeah, not a bad idea at all. Keeping it all safe and standard. Do see that early gas as well for Crimson. So yeah, nothing out of the ordinary to start things off. No Mia Micah plays, that's for sure.
No, the hatchery is in his own expansion, so
yeah.
It's not on the other side of the map or anything like that. No gold bases on this one either, unfortunately. Gold bases and wild aggressive players is always one of the funniest combinations. As long as you don't have to play against it. To watch, to cast, to observe, it's great. To play against, it's a bit of a nightmare.
Yeah, no one wants to play against that. It is way too much. I'm wondering how Pro's going to play this map because it is one of the rather bigger ones. It doesn't have that pocket natural, so I'm feeling like we probably won't see what he did to Igaz yesterday with the carriers and whatnot anytime soon. Just a shame because that is a pretty cool style that we don't see too much.
Definitely one that can bring out the frustrations, raise the blood pressure a little bit of these Zerg opponents. I know that can often really get in their heads. You take a game with that. That was a great way, of course, to start off that series against Igaz. Was like, hey, 16-bit, man, Phoenix into carriers, let's do it. And Igaz was not able to contest it. But Crimson here did end up winning a game against Probe yesterday. Now, if I remember correctly, it was the map on Lost and Found, where Probe was going for a big Adept Sentry Immortal push after his Oracle opening. And Crimson was like doing like 50 drone mass Hydraling Bane. And Probe just kind of backed up, went into Colossi, and then got busted by that big Hydra attack after losing a few sentries to Banelings.
Yeah, he took some big hits when he was actually pushing out on the map, and those Banelings actually got through the force fields and annihilated essentially the whole sentry count.
Yeah, so it was a little bit of a slippery one. I think Probe's confident in the match, though. And once again, Stargate, 3 Adepts, Stargate, this is like his formula, you know? And it's like, yeah, he pretty much goes either Glaive Adepts off this or into the Robo Twilight, which is the charged Archon. But occasionally, you know, he does do that 2 Stargate Phoenix, but I don't think we'll see it here on Catalyst because it's a very small map and some, you know, decent attack paths. Not one where you want to necessarily mass Phoenix unless it's a style you're very strong with.
Yeah, I completely agree with you there. That's unfortunate because that is also a pretty cool style, but it definitely leaves you open to heavy grounded counterattacks. Ling Roach just busting your third base, etc. A classic. So maybe keeping it a bit safer and just going for that Oracle after Phoenix starting to clear the Overlords. Nothing out of the ordinary just yet, and I'm waiting to find out what his next step is going to be.
Yeah, these Overlords are actually quite a bit far out, and ooh, the Phoenix will find another one. At the same time, Lings are getting on top of those Adepts. Nice shade and good micro from Probe, though. Manages to get both the Adepts out of there, one of them living on red hit points, and he's getting the Overlord on the other side of the map. So a very solid start to things here for Probe. 2 kills on the Phoenix. Very rare you see that these days. People are so good at hiding those Overlords, but Crimson left one of them out there in the open, and now comes the harassment into the main base.
see what he can find. He found at least one drone so far. Spores are set up in every base, so not going to be able to find too much. But great scouting tool beyond that. And we are seeing the Robo and Twilight behind us.
All right, yeah, we'd love to see some of that charged Archon. Hope he 6-gate? Yeah, I think it might be the 6-gate version as well. Indeed, it is. Yep. So very, very good way to do that. Scouting drone down here. Got the wrong orders, I think. That's a Zergling's job, not a drone's job.
Both players just posturing up, getting their third bases nice and secure. Probe about to begin his as well. Wary of any sort of lings coming to try and cancel it, etc., etc. And very early Templar archives.
Yeah, it should be really good. I wonder, right now we do see probe production pause, which is very standard. With this build, you pause on 50 probes so you can make a bunch of Archons and charge lots and do a bit of pressure. The question is how soon does he start building probes again? You know, I would like to see probe commit to a full round of Warpins or two. But here we go, probe production starting up behind it, and that Templar Archives does finish up. Pylon's a little bit late. Oh, this is a nasty supply block from probe. It does barely get enough. Oh my god. Okay, I was about to criticize. No, probe's 1,000 times better than me. He had the perfect amount of supply just to squeeze both Archons in. Gets the Zealots running across the map at the same time. Nice.
Very, very nice. Wrapping around here. It's going to be forcing those Rochaling into the main base. It has been spotted. The spotting pool has seen it, but there's only drones here right now. And starting on the eggs first. I like that.
Yeah, like a roach popped out. It was conveniently on top of it, so it got a whole bunch of lava and an egg. Not bad at all. Zealots hit the third at the same time, and Crimson does not actually have that many roaches out. There are enough. They're just not in the right positions right now.
Yeah, Queens though. Queens are going to be going down for this. That's going to hurt a lot. A link counterattack, but Zealots are waiting, and charge lots on these roaches be able to clean it up as well, perhaps. And do a lot of damage at least.
Yeah, the units lost there is kind of insane. There's still Zealots doing damage. What is going on here? This is insane. These Zealots just aren't dying. Oh my lord.
Just one sneaky Zealot into the mineral patch here. He's focusing down what he can. Really nicely done from Probe. He's in a great spot right now and dealing with the creep at the same time.
Wow.
And probably killing even more roaches.
This is such a good feeling as a Zerg player. Like, all you need to do, you see all these roaches, you're like, yeah, just defend the counter. Chrono some Immortals, make another Archon at home. Like, as long as I defend this, I am good. Probe here in such a healthy position after this early game interaction. I love it.
He is in his element right now, and this roach counterattack is not going to do anything. 3 Archons, an Immortal, and a lot of Zealots just waiting.
Yeah, thankfully roach speed is done. Otherwise, these would be dead roaches. Oh no, wrong orders again. Someone in their admin office is doing it wrong, dude. These drones just keep heading into the dangerous part of town.
It's not good, man. And a 4th base, an ambitious 4th base thrown down. I guess safe to say that Probe will not be attacking just yet. Just needs to build up that Immortal count a little bit further. And 5 more gateways being finished as well.
Okay, actually, no Storm, no gases on the third. Probe's just going to go for a kill move. I like it. He knows he's ahead. He says, why waste time? Why screw around here? Nice little recall on those 2 Archons. That's cute to get those out. But look at this, just a ton of Zealots, a ton of gateways, Immortals, Archons moving across the map. Still no gases on the third. I think Probe's just going to commit to a huge attack.
Yeah, it's looking like it. I guess he sees the blood on the water, man. He did so much damage to that third base, killed a lot of drones and shaved off a lot of the army. He knows he can probably just overwhelm. Ooh.
Yeah, it's a big gateway count. That is a 12 gateway count. That is up. We've got a few Zealots going down the right-hand side. Probe is really dilly-dallying right now. He's got Storm on the way, but still no gases on the third. I think Probe, just seeing so many Roaches and Hydras, has backed out of this. And I kind of don't like this lack of confidence. I feel like with how much of an advantage he had, how many units he built, he should have at least pushed across the map and looked for a good angle. Maybe be a little bit careful. Don't just like headbutt into a concave. But I feel like, you know, if you're going to shift gears harder. Only now does Probe take the gases. Still doesn't have a 4th base up either. So I think Probe here giving Crimson a little bit of ground. Yeah, Crimson built a lot of Roach Hydra, but look at it. Now he's droned back up to 75. He's making Dropper Lords. He's trying to go into Lurker Tech. These are all things which could give Crimson a chance to get back in this game.
Yep, we're seeing a big whoop in the main base. I'm kind of surprised we aren't seeing that main army perhaps like posture near the fourth base as this attack is happening. You know, he's making a lot of space, he's creating a lot of diversions, but not taking advantage of it just for single parts of damage with these Zealots.
Yeah. Got to agree with you on that one, Glade. Would love to see a bit of multi-prong, especially this main army is such a threatening force right now for Probe, but it is sitting back a lot, and, you know, Lurkers tech is out. There's 1,000 gas. We're probably going to see about 10 Lurkers morphing in the near future for Crimson. Crimson, unfortunately, supply blocked right now. A very bad time to be supply blocked, right, when you want to be morphing Lurkers, and hasn't realized it either. So is loading up a nice drop, but Crimson unable to morph Lurkers and doesn't realize it until he gets to the other side of the map. Oh, no.
Big scout there, and looks like Probe's going to be meeting him out on the map here. That drop hurtling towards the main base, though, undetected so far, which could come as a pretty nasty surprise. That's 4 full Overlords. So yeah, might scout it eventually.
And this Oracle coming into the middle of the map is going to see that there's Lurkers morphing. They could already be out on the map, creating a lot of threat. Probe's way out of position right now. Stalkers and Zealots warping in. The Phoenix is there as well. Oh, slow to unload his Crimson.
So many going down already. These roaches will not find too much, especially now that there's an Immortal there as well. Lurkers have been found as well. One's going to get shaved off, and they're going to be out of position for this hatchery. Big storms.
Probe here in a very nice position right now. He's starting to push forward through the middle. Does just back off for now because he doesn't have a warp in point here. His Zealot's just idling in the top right-hand side. He should be hitting the third with those to take advantage of this, but I guess Probe just stabilizing after clearing up that main base. He's got his fourth up in the bottom left-hand side as well right now. Crimson going to try to go deal with those Zealots, but he's actually only sent a few Hydras. That's not a good fight, dude.
That's an easy wipe right there. These Zealots just hanging around. It might have even refreshed Probe, being like, oh, I do have those Zealots there. I forgot about them.
Nice to have a little reminder from your opponent once in a while. Not a lot of detection here from Probe, so can't really bust these Lurkers, but he's going to go for it. The Observer a little bit behind his army. Does get the detection finally, and those Lurkers there.
Wiped them out, but that's still a lot of roaches around both sides here. 3 Immortals, 4 Immortals in the mix. It's going to be a close fight, not the most effective.
Zealots in the third at the same time, though. That does kind of salvage this situation a little bit. And, you know, you've got the superior economy. Not the cleanest way to finish. This is, I like to call this like a Zest-style finish. It's like, you're ahead, so you just attack in 3 places, and 1 or 2 fights might go bad, but like it doesn't matter because one of your fights will massacre a worker line, and your opponent just can't recover from that. So, yeah, Probe's got the economy. It looks really good.
Yeah, he is looking in a fabulous position. All he's got to do is keep making the army he's been making too. It's so effective. The only scary thing will be the 7 Lurkers that are being morphed now. He's got to find a way to effectively deal with them, and I guess the easiest way for him would be just to double Robo Immortal and get an absolute ton out.
Yeah, there is a Warp Prism still on the left-hand side of the map, ready to threaten that main, but Crimson's been pretty good at defending that with Spores. Creep spread all over his side of the map. The economy just being so small is where this is so tough. As Crimson, do you reinvest in workers and just die to the next attack? He says, no, I'm going to keep making Lurkers, Hydras, as many units as possible, and use some drops to try and find an angle. If you can get some Lurkers in the back of these mineral lines, notice there's no cannons or batteries. You know, it hasn't really hit that stage where Probe has a chance to establish his defense. And Zealot warping in the main base, he's going to just try and keep him busy. Crimson, though, I think is going to accept the challenge. But the third base as well. Oh, man.
More and more drones going down. This is the last thing. Down to 55 drones against 74 of Probes. The 5th is well going up for Probe while this is all happening. He might even get the Lurker Den.
Wow, great snipe on the Lurker Den. Very, very well done there by Probe. And it looks like Crimson, realizing there's a huge army coming through the middle, is going to go send his drops across. Probe just going to try and break this Lurker position, eat some Lurker spikes, though. He's going to have to back off there. More Zealots have warped in the main base of Crimson at the same time. A drop is coming into Probe's natural, though. There's nothing there to end it. Chaos on all fronts right now, and both players trying to pick each other apart. The Lurker drop in the natural is good, but Probe busting through that front. Beautiful engagement there. He backs off for now. The Lurkers are in his natural, causing chaos and mayhem in the production of the Protoss player.
Managed to get rid of most of the Lurkers. Going to be recalling back to that natural, actually. A smart choice, I think. He does not want to let the Zerg set up shop here. And it was a couple of Lurkers, so it's just that much harder to deal with.
Zealot's still here in the natural in the main base, just doing little bits of damage. That's just the power of that warp in. That huge Zealot warp in there, coming in from all angles. More Zealots coming into the top of the natural as well. Cannons and Immortals defend the front, and Crimson is out of steam. and pretty much out of this game. These last little desperate roach counters looking for any purchase, and they find just about nothing.
Just about nothing at all. Just more and more zealots are slowly picking them apart. Down 60 supply here. Roaches found a little way into the back here, but I think it's just a little too late at this point. There's really not much to salvage.
Yeah, Probe got too big, too far out of control, and Crimson not able to keep up with that. You know, a little bit unfortunate, I think, not getting his lurkers out on time, but such a clean, flawless early game from Probe. It's hard to argue with him being you know, one of the highest seeds going into this tournament. Probe is just so clean, so good at establishing those advantages. And when you have 11 Immortals versus 14 Roaches, I'm going to tell you that's pretty good for the Protoss player.
That's a pretty good place to be. And he's maintaining that 60 supply lead, and now he's going to be marching across the map. Now that all the split attacks, the harassment, the multi-prongs have finished up here, it's time to just drop the hammer.
The hammer indeed. This is a gigantic, you know, sledgehammer or something. This is not a small hammer. This is a huge Protoss ball of death. And yep, there's nothing left to do except watch the tears run down the cheeks of the Zerg players out there watching, because this is not a fight you win. The numbers are just way too tilted. And Probe takes a very, very good game 1 victory.
Yeah, just all round solid, man. He was just in his element through that whole game. Looking fantastic, picking apart Crimson until the end. He's a beast, man.
The pressure was so clean as well, right? Remember that was like the Archon started killing like lava, the Zealots were hitting the side, and then like in the midst of it, he starts picking off the creep tumors as well. It was like, these are like, there's like, if the Protoss hits 1 goal, it's like, force Zerg to build roaches instead of drones. They're already like kind of okay with the situation, but he's like, oh, I killed some drones, and I forced lost mining time, and I killed all your queens, and I got your creep.
And I killed your eggs. And I like a trade with roaches effectively as I use 1 zealot to clean up even more drones. It's just like it was stack on stack, man, and he ended up having like 3 or 4 objectives complete out of when he really just had to get 1.
Yeah, that's a big lead. I think Crimson fought really well to come back from there. Definitely, I think Probe maybe even gave him a little bit of time. You know, playing a little bit careful. I mean, that's something I've always been overly critical of Probe. If I have to find one thing to be critical of him, is him being overly safe and careful with how he closes out games. He's like very methodical. And occasionally it kind of gives up a window to use an army advantage and like his opponent finds a way back in. Usually though, it's just like, it just takes a little bit longer and you're like, oh, does his opponent have a chance? And it's like, no, he's got the 4th, he's got the 5th, he's got too many units and he does close it out. And that was kind of that game in a nutshell. I think, you know, Probe maybe had a window earlier, but he ended up being just as dominating the way he finished it anyway.
Yeah, I definitely agree with you with that sort of criticism. Like you definitely see it a lot, Probe, especially maybe in PvZ where he will maneuver his army a lot, but he will never commit. He'll move out, and maybe as he moves out, he'll create some like extra situations with zealots, run-bys, and whatnot. But then he'll just pull back and he'll just keep pooling that army bigger and bigger and perhaps miss some opportunities.
Yeah, I think it's one of the hardest things and the most impressive things when you see those players who just seem to have zero fear committing to like these fights. And you're like, but that's like, look, is there a really good defensive unit? How did you know you could break that? You look at someone like Patience who like, you know, it's like, it's always either like, you know, just a genius attack. You're like, I cannot believe you took that fight and won it. And sometimes it doesn't work and you look silly. And that's always the give and take of being a more aggressive player. And it's so hard as a StarCraft player, right? Because as a more aggressive player, you look like a genius, you look like an idiot. And that way, if you're more defensive, you give your opponent more room to recover from deficits, to get back in the game. And you also have to just become a master of so many more stages of the game. So you have to expand your skill set as a macro player. And that's why there's always this balancing act between, you know, not letting the game drag on too long, but trying to actually finish the game where you're strong at it without compromising your chances at all.
Well said.
All right. Here we go. Acid Plant for game number 2 with a very commanding game 1 victory. Down here in the bottom right-hand side, the blue Protoss player, he is Probe. Creating quite a legacy for himself.
Oh, well said again. And up here in the top left, for SYF in the red, we have Crimson. Down a game. Got to turn it around now, or he is out of the tournament.
That's it. Down but not out. He's got a shot here, and definitely, you know, could make some cool things happen again. It's kind of tough as Crimson to get a great read on exactly what opening Probe is doing, because he always gets the Phoenix. I feel like what Crimson needs, though, is to just be like a little bit more confident, knowing, you know what, this is Probe. It's always going to be the Adept pressure, or it's going to be that you know, charged Archon. And it's a very familiar pattern. I'm sure it is for Crimson. I'm sure he studied this play, but if he can just get a little bit more on top of making those roaches, having them in position, potentially having a few more lings on the map to see like the zealots walking out, to see like the warp prism coming across the map, these things can allow him to be in the right position. And I think if Crimson kind of had the queens in the main there, the roaches at the third, that attack doesn't do anything. He kind of starts one-shotting those zealots as they come in. The warp prism takes heaps of damage and has to pick up and leave. And it's a completely different game from there. So for Crimson, it's all about getting on top of the first wave of pressure and running into a normal game on an even footing for once, because he just hasn't really had that chance yet.
Yeah, it really is the kind of like probably the most dangerous part of the game, right? When that run pressure begins and the zealot run by begins. Like, but if you can get over that hurdle unscathed, you're in such a good spot. But getting there is the hardest thing, because you just don't have enough queens, or you don't have enough roaches. They're all slow. There's not enough creep between everything as well. So it is like the greatest opportunity for Protoss to get ahead easy, and the hardest for Zerg to kind of defend against.
Yeah, maybe a little bit of, I think, fear as well with some of the new builds in the meta that players have been bringing out. People aren't really 100% sure what's happening. That Phoenix effectively keeping people in the dark. Might be time for some of these players to start going back into the Overlord speed builds. I personally was never a fan, because I am a greedy boy and I love having an extra couple hundred minerals early on in the game to just build more drones no matter what I'm up against. But some players love that information and they thrive on it, so definitely might be something we see rotate back into the meta a little bit more.
Yeah, definitely not a bad idea against these players that you know are just going to be doing the same opening every game and then vary it. So if it's always going to be that Phoenix opening, that's always going to be denying your scouting. Maybe Speed Overlords is your choice, and just having one on the map that you can stack a little bit later on would be ideal.
Yeah. Also, fast layers with like an Overlord hidden maybe halfway across the map on one of the edges into a fast Overseer could be nice. But for now, everything's stock standard. It's not like you can't just play the same style, and it's just got to be a matter of tightening it up, cleaning it up. That's StarCraft in general, right? So much is execution. You know, a lot of the strategy lies in between the timings. Something, you know, can be hit 30 seconds faster. If you can have a few more units out to defend said attack, everything changes and shifts. And that's why real-time strategy is so tense, so exciting, and so stressful for the players as well, because things can change so suddenly off a few small adjustments.
Everything exactly the same as last game, I gotta say, in terms of opening for both players. Nothing really out of the ordinary just yet. Spores are already up as the first Oracle comes out as well.
And that is, I guess, the very first deviation, is the second Oracle coming out. And there's a third gateway as well a bit earlier this time. So I think we might see the Twilight Council. Yeah, Twilight Council goes down. So it's going to be the Adept Glaive follow-up. So Probe, of course, you know, committing to a second Oracle doesn't really slow this build down as much, because it's not as gas heavy. Adept's pretty gas cheap. But with that Oracle build, actually got that like half a second before it finished. That's nice.
That's cheeky. I don't think it really does much, because there's a tumor close enough to the ramp, but still cheeky. I guess it will stop the creep getting to like the end of the base as well, so it's going to be harder to put a spore down anytime soon as well near the end, so to stop any sort of warp prism play.
Yeah, so I think not a bad little pick-off there. Definitely you're just looking for small bits of damage with these Oracles early on. That count of Adepts has been spotted. Crimson really needs to be holding down that Roach Key. A couple of Overlords are finishing up, and there we go. The Roach Key goes down. It looks like Crimson's a lot more comfortable, I think, against this opening. Roach speed and +1, but so early as well. This is something which I find very interesting about Crimson's defensive Roach play, is like the upgrades are always so fast. And that's something where you'll see Probe delay his upgrades by a very long time. Oh, I love this maneuver. Picks up one queen, zaps the other one, and says, oh, you know, now I'll drop you down. Now I'll kill you. This third queen.
Oh, man.
Oh, it's a massacre.
Wow. 3 queens going down for this is huge. That's going to stop everything. It's going to stop production. It's going to stop creep spread. Same time, we are seeing Lings hurtle across the map, looking for a counterattack, but there, as he already saw, there's a lot of depths at this third base, and he cancels the third base as well.
What?
And makes it again.
Oh, that was a hotkey misclick. I was like, strategically, that makes no sense right now. That's why I said what. And his adepts are in hold position. They actually cancelled his third from going back down because they blocked the probe who got stuck on the adept. Oh,
the
no.
Lings scabbed their third base, he remakes it again. This could actually work in his favor. I'm not sure.
Yeah, Crimson's going to be so afraid right now. He's supply blocked. He's panicking really hard because he thinks there's some sort of all-in coming off 2 base. Oh, my lord, this is hilarious. Yeah, he's making ravages. He's like, there's an all-in coming! Oh my god, this is so
It's
silly.
2 base.
This is the silliest thing I've seen in a while. There's a second robo down for Probe. He's going to go into Immortals behind it, but like he's got this massive depth which is going to do nothing versus Master Roach Ravage.
16 Lings, 4 more Ravages, man. Crimson is in alert mode, and it's all because of Probe's mistake.
Gosh, he's fallen down the stairs. It made a loud noise, and apparently Crimson's sat upright in his bed, and he's in panic mode. He's like, there's an intruder in my house, man. Something dangerous is happening. But no, it's just your drunk brother. He's come home, he's banging the doors and windows. It's making a lot of noise, but you really don't need to be that worried because this is such an awkward composition for Probe right now. He's got 5 sentries, bunch of adepts. He's making Immortals 2 at a time and doing the slowest Templar Archives Forge charge transition ever. So it's going to be charged at Arc and Immortal. It's just going to be late and awkward. But you know what? Crimson just isn't droning, so it actually works out completely fine for both sides.
Ridiculous, man. What a spanner in the works. All based on a mistake and the timing of the fix. He got blocked by Adept, so he couldn't make the Nexus fast enough for the Lings to scout it. I love this game. I love this game so much.
That's amazing. I mean, this is a Spire, so it's, yeah, I think this is like Crimson's like, what's going on? This is a weird game. All right, let's go into weird play mode. Let's make Mutas, which is a good swap. Especially since that Phoenix is just kind of watching for drops right now. The Spire, I don't believe it's been spotted at all. So a Muta swap could be very deadly. Yeah, I mean, there's not going to be Blink, that's for sure. That's, yeah. He needs to scout it. Hallucination in the main. Let's see, is that hallucination going to spot it? That's super key. And it pauses. Damn.
Not yet.
That's not good for Probe. He really needs to see that Spire.
It's going to be a nasty surprise, and Crimson can make at least 10 right now. So it's a decent number as well to come out of nowhere.
Yeah, no cannons on the mineral lines or shield batteries. Only 1 shield battery at the third. So definitely not an ideal scenario for Probe to be in against the Mutas. But army to army, Immortals are pretty good versus Roaches. There's a great Ravager count though, and the Roach Ravager wrecks the Adept Sentry. So I don't even know how this fight goes. I know once Storm comes in, it looks good for Probe. But I don't think he can force the issue through Ravagers just yet.
Ooh, big counterattack with Lings, but no way to get in there. He's found the Mutalist. He's moving them back. So he's transitioning now back into Phoenix. Is it too little too late though? Mutas are coming across the map now, and there is currently 13 on the map.
That's a lot of Mutt-Mutts. Even going into Corruptors here, he's going to commit to like mass, guys. I was talking about this composition yesterday. We don't see this very often at all anymore, but this could actually work out. There's no second Stargate down. Stalkers have been warped in, which aren't the best against this, especially with no Blink going down. A lot of players will swap back out of the Mutas after just 1 round because they're not good in straight-up combat. But Crimson playing a very clever mind game, just continuing to go for the Mutalisks, and that's going to catch Probe off guard.
And we aren't seeing an extra Stargate or anything being invested in just yet. I think that's simply because he has not seen how many Mutas and Corruptors are being made with this army.
Yeah, this is definitely now the trade comes in and just killing all the Stalkers in the main. The Corruptor tanking very well versus the Phoenix, but a few Mutas and Corruptors are kind of attacking through the army. Roaches and Ravagers on the third at the same time, though. Probes are starting to fall there. Only a few going to go down. Crimson needs to evacuate. He can't stay here any longer. He's got to get out on all fronts. Oh, he's actually going to go for the 4th again. I think he might be overcommitting, though. This is nice cancel. Gets the cancel on the base, gets most of his Ravagers out there. Does he have a Bane speed?
That is a good question.
Doesn't even have a Baneling Nest. Okay.
Wow. Man. Yeah.
All right. That's going to be really bad. There's a lot of Adepts. Charge Lots now joining in. You want to have Speed Banes against this. They're also going to be great for run-bys into the economy. He
shaving off this army. Not really finding the damage. Probably hoping with a muted surprise like this. And one Stargate seems to be all he needs to get enough Phoenix out to deflect this.
Well, he's made 10 Corruptors now? I think
Whoa.
it's like an overmake. He's got to go start using Caustic Spray. No, it's a nice cancel. Crimson in this down and dirty game seems to be finding his footing a little bit. I like that he's going the Baneling Nest. He realizes that he does need that. But yeah, definitely keep attacking on multiple sides. Keep canceling these bases. This is the way to do it. These like 4 or 5 Phoenix are worthless against this army. The problem is that Blink Stalker upgrade is getting closer to finish. And when that kicks in, these Corruptors are going to get shut down a little bit more powerfully. So I'd love to see a Caustic Spray on the main base, or maybe even the third base Nexus. Right now, the Adept's diving in on top of the third of Crimson.
Looks like he's waiting for it, but it's only Mutas to deflect this, so a lot of drones are going to...
Yeah, that's sloppy defense there. A little bit. Does lose 12 workers, but you know what? He can replace them, and he does quickly replace them, so that's fine. This game is one of these games where, you know, neither player has been in a game exactly like this before. It is a special snowflake indeed. I'm not sure if they've got like plans of what to do. It's all about kind of improvising from here. It's not set plays. It's very much scrappy.
Yeah, and we saw that with, you know, finally the addition of that second Stargate has come in. Just a little bit late, as well as that fleet beacon, so he is actually going to get it up and running. It might even just be enough Stalkers on the ground to deal with these mutless.
Yeah, with that warp in, it definitely is. That overcommitment to Corruptors, you know, it shut down the Phoenix, but the Phoenix just ran out of there. Great control by Probe, and Bane Speed's not done, but the Banelings have been spotted. Crimson's got to keep doing the run by. And he is going for Hive now, which is good. Broodlords is the transition off this. If you can get into Broodlords, you've already got the Corruptors out. That is what invalidates Probe's ground army, especially if he's going mass Phoenix. If you've just got enough Corruptors, maybe some Queens, that'll take it on. But right now, I feel like Crimson wants to attack in one area, and he does split his army up. Okay, if he attacks all on one side, Storm is just going to ravage him.
He's got to be careful here. Only Phoenix to deflect this at the moment. Corruptors are going to do some good work here, but the rest of the army is moving up here, and this might trigger the counterattack on the bottom left.
Yeah, definitely could pull a lot of the army out of position. There's only really Zealots down there right now. Crimson's going to dive on it. The Mutas and Corruptors have done their job. Where are the High Templar? You've got to get those probes out of there. But the Mutas dive back in on the High Templar. At the same time, the Mutas just took out all the High Templar. They eat one big storm, but 4 High Templar go down at the same time. The Banelings in the mineral line. The probes are trying to get out of there. Good reaction. Saves the economy, but at the same time, the 4th base under heavy air assault.
Yeah, he's losing on both fronts now, storming all his probes as well. Oh, so much damage.
If those Mutas turn around and get on those probes, that'd be massive, but the Corruptor's not tanking properly for them. So much going on in this game right now. A lot of the probes do end up surviving, but still a big bruising to Probe's economy. Crimson with a fantastic series of maneuvers attacking on both sides of the map. And his Hive is now finished. If he can just find the room to get that Great Aspire out, he's got the gas count for it. He's got a decent income right now. It's not massive, but he's rebuilding a few workers. And oh my, Immortal's in the open!
Instantly recalls them. Very, very smart. Losing a couple of Stalkers for his trouble. And as you said, there's 5 bases mining currently for Crimson. He definitely has the gas income to support this as well.
Yeah, I'd love to see that Great Aspire. He's going +1 flyer weapons. I think realizing he's getting a bit of edge with the Muta Corruptor, he's going to keep investing in it. This is not a bad choice at all. He's actually whittled down the Phoenix count. You know what? It was 2-star Phoenix, and there was a Phoenix range upgrade which finished. But Probes realized that's just not working. He lost all his Phoenix, so he's got to back out of it. He swapped into Stalker, Storm, Immortal, Archon. A little bit of an awkward composition. Mutas maybe can make it happen against this, but I definitely think Broodlords would be the finishing blow.
Yep, I completely agree with you there. He needs something for the air units, something more effective. Yep. He's going to be up to Crimson. Yeah.
Banelings on either mineral line could potentially find big damage.
Crimson down 40 supply currently.
Ooh, nice blink response there from Probe. Takes out a few of Crimson's Mutalisks. Adrenal Glands is on the way here, but Crimson is kind of stuck on maxed out with an army that can't really face off against Probe's army front on. I like it. He's splitting up. He's got Zerglings going towards the south. That third base of Probes is running really low, by the way. I'd love to see Crimson actually take a few new bases as well, because we're at this point where both players' minerals are mining out very quickly.
Yeah, I'm definitely finally we're seeing that Nexus for the 5th base as well for Probe, though it's going to be hard to keep up considering how many angles Crimson has taken for his attacks. No doubt he's going to run to it very, very shortly.
Yeah.
Finding some Banelings down below.
I mean, this is a really scary army still. I don't think you want to fight this off this Crimson. In general, fighting this as Crimson is going to be an absolute nightmare. If he spreads well enough, maybe. With the right Baneling connections, you can always make it happen. Once again, counter-attacking in. Empty mineral line. Nice.
There's the Caustic Spray. Finally got it. Stalkers are in, but I don't think they're going to be able to stop these Corruptors in time.
Yeah, finishes off the Caustic Spray. The Nexus falls, but a lot of Corruptors will go down, and that opens up the opportunity to swap back into Phoenix production for Probe if he wants to. More and more Mutas on the way for Crimson. Still no Great Aspire, no Ultra Cavern. I feel like Crimson may be a little bit glued to this tech, and that is only going to work if he's got the best run buys. Right now, there's only Mutas counterattacking. I don't know if he's got enough Banelings to defend this assault. So many Stalkers, Immortals, and Archons. This is a frightening Protoss army, but there's not much Storm with it. Only 2 High Templars in the rear.
Here we go. Crimson kind of fostering up here, not paying too much attention, coming from different angles here. Going to be up to Probe to pull back. Good Storms on the Banelings, but not enough to kill them.
Yeah, they're all still alive on red hit points and managing to take down a lot of these Stalkers and Immortals. Valuable Protoss units starting to fall here. But it's almost pure Mutalisk production against pure Stalker production. As long as you're fighting front on, that's going to favor the Protoss player.
A random Templar just comes out of nowhere to Storm. Do even more damage here. And right now there's a promising army for Probe, but a lot of Lings are about to pop out.
Ooh, just typed down that High Templar. That is the last one for Probe. Oh, but it's just Mutalisks popping out. These aren't a great combat unit, especially with those Archons in the mix. I think there might just be a little bit too much here for Probe. He may have done it in such a scrappy, down and dirty game. The Mutas trying to engage the Stalkers. The Corrosive Vials trying to help them out, but the Stalkers are dodging. The Micro is good. Probe has tied up the supply. The quality of units is just too good. A few more Banelings coming in, but even with magic hits like that, it's not going to be enough. The Zealots stand strong, and the economy of Crimson is open.
It's just way too much damage from these Archons, man. No chance about it. I'm kind of surprised we didn't see more of a counterattack sort of situation for Crimson. Just going for base trades, trying to ignore the main army as it moved across the map.
Yeah, I think he needed to do something like that, but it's so hard in these scrappy games to identify that, you know, because you've got a Probe who was split so well between his bases, but Probe just realized, wait a second, you're all grouping up to fight my one frontal army? He just kind of F2'd, grabbed his entire army together, pulled it to the front, and that was a very decisive decision. And that's the decision which is going to win him the game. Probe takes it out, closes out the series 2-0.
GG. Very, very solid play, man. I'm loving these scrappy games as well, gotta say. And what a situation that second game was in when the Nexus was accidentally canceled.
Yeah, I forgot about that for a second. The game went on for so long. Like, how did it get to this weird spot again?
How did it get so scrappy again? Oh, it's because he accidentally canceled his Nexus and then it got scouted before he could remake it.